The weather has been absolutely stunning this week. Really high, hot temperatures and crystal clear blue skies with not a cloud to be seen anywhere. It's been lovely, but it's been absolutely tragic for landscape photography. To be brutally honest, these kind of conditions are nightmarish, and I will usually go out of my way to avoid them at all costs. But I thought tonight I'd come out regardless, put myself to the challenge, and see if I can get an image in these challenging conditions. So I'm at a place called Len, which sits on the northwest coast of the Isle of Man, and we've got about an hour to go till sunset. So I'm going to have a little wander around this beach, see if I can find anything that tickles my fancy, and hopefully secure the all-important image. From a photography point of view, I'm really starved of foreground interest on a beach like this. I mean, look behind me. There really is not an awful lot going on this beach. It's really, really beautiful, but it's not conducive to really effective photography, particularly when we've got a sky like this. Not a cloud to be seen anywhere. So, this is going to be a real challenge, but I think I have found something which I think is going to help me significantly. And I'll be honest, when I came here, I kind of had this in the back of my mind, so it's not just luck that I stumbled across it. You'll see, you'll be able to hear, we got running water, and you can see we've got a river here. And I think this is the foreground interest I've been looking for. So I'm going to try and set up a composition using this water to fill the foreground of the frame. I have about 5 minutes to sunset, so I'm going to have to make this super efficient and super quick, so excuse the errors in my explanations. With this river here, I think the key is the height that you take the image. If you take it too high like this, it's not particularly very interesting. The scene is still kind of feeling a little bit lackluster and empty. So I think the key here is to get nice and low, and that's exactly what I've done with my tripod here. A little bit of tripod yoga going on here. I've effectively taken out the center pole of the tripod and reversed it so it points down, and then attached my camera via the L bracket right to the bottom. I feel a little bit nervous doing this, but it allows me to get super close to the water surface. I mean, if you look at that, it's probably about 20 centimeters away from the water surface, which is pretty damn close really. What that enables me to do is absolutely fill my foreground with this racing water as it glides over the actual pebbles and rocks going down the shore, and that adds some much needed interest into this foreground, which on a beach like this is really quite hard to come by. There's not much going on here. But what's also really interesting this time of year, around kind of late June, the sun here pretty much sets bang center in this river as it races off to the sea. So there's kind of a nice sort of minimalistic composition ready to be shot here, where I position the sun bang center in the middle of this river, dominate my foreground with the rippling water as it goes over the pebbles, and that's about it. There's not too much else in the scene. I mean, you can see the riverbank either side of my composition, but that's about it. I really just want to go for a really minimalistic shot that feels quite different to your bog standard seascape image. Wow, it was really, really time pressured with that shoot there. I thought I had all the time in the world, but in the end, I really, really didn't. Do not make my mistake. Come to your locations more than an hour in advance. It's stupidity to do it in the manner that I just did it there. But I'm pretty sure I did manage to get my shot. I'll take you in a little bit closer to where my camera is still positioned on its tripod. Right, getting super low. The joints do not like that. This was a hard shot to achieve, I'll be honest. It took me a long time to get set up for it, and I think that's why I ended up so rushed in the end. The main challenge here was setting the tripod up. I mean, finding the right position and the composition and setting the camera up upside down like that took a bit of time. I was a little bit reluctant to do it. I mean, logically speaking, that shouldn't be any more dangerous than the conventional position, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels very unnatural to hang your camera upside down over water like this. So yeah, I felt a little bit uneasy about that, but once I managed to get over that, it was then moving on to the challenge of filters for this shot. And yeah, I needed a lot of filters here. First of all, I popped on a circular polarizer. The kind of rationale for that is I was trying to take a little bit of the sunset glare off the water surface. I don't think it actually achieved all that much in the end, to be honest, because the glare was very, very strong, but it was on there nonetheless. Next, I had a free-stop ND filter that allowed me to run longer exposure time, so I could get a nice silky kind of movement to the water as it kind of glides over these pebbles. And then finally, I actually used a reverse grad filter, a free-stop reverse grad filter, and they are perfect for sunsets because the graduation effect is actually at its densest right along the horizon line, which with a sunset is the brightest point in the sky. And that allowed me to expose the top of the image really, really nicely. So overall, the combination of those three filters allowed me to nail the image here, I hope. In terms of settings, I was shooting at f11, ISO 64. I believe it was about 20mm, but I can't see my lens at the moment because it's upside down. And I was shooting a shutter speed of 3 seconds. Now, it was really hard to focus this because it's in such a precarious position. So what I actually did here is I used the focus stack automatic feature in the D850, which, to be honest, I don't usually use because it's more hassle than it's worth and it's a bit of faffage. I tend to do focus stacking manually more often than not. But here, I wasn't going to take any risk. I mean, the water, in terms of its closeness to the front of that lens element there, it's maybe about 40-30 centimeters away, so it's really quite close. So what I actually did is I just put the automatic focus stacking mode on the D850, took 10 exposures right across the focal kind of range, and yeah, there's a big margin of error there. I probably don't need 10, I'll probably get rid of the vast majority of those, but at least it gives me a little bit of comfort that I know 100% I have got right from back to front absolutely pin sharp. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the shot, how it turned out. I was trying to just achieve something simple but different, and I wanted to try and capture the overwhelming warmth of the day and the warmth of the sunset. So I hope I've achieved that. I don't think it's a shot that's going to set the world on fire, but frankly, in this kind of environment, I really don't think I was going to achieve anything more. I absolutely adore these long June nights. They're just gorgeous to shoot. I mean, look at the colours behind me in this sky. And what time is it now? It's about 10:30 at the moment. Absolutely stunning, really, really is. And these kind of nights are perfect for noctilucent clouds, which I don't know if you saw last week's video, but I'll pop a link right at the top for you to see now. It's well worth a watch. As for tonight, it was all a bit rushed, a bit hectic, but I did manage to secure an image, and I think it kind of matches the kind of vision that I had in my mind for it. So all in all, I'm fairly pleased. It was really challenging with the empty skies to try and find anything that would work. I mean, when you're setting up a composition with skies like this, you really can't afford to dedicate much to them. So with this image, it was about a third or potentially even less of the composition that I actually dedicated to the sky, because there's just nothing going on up there, so I couldn't really afford to give it anything else. For me, it was all about the interest within the river, the reflections of those colours as the ripples of water kind of skimmed over those rocks and pebbles. For me, that's what made the image. A key takeaway from this evening for me is, don't be scared to put your tripod into unusual and exotic positions. I know not all tripods allow the central column to be reversed downwards like mine, but certainly if you do have a tripod that allows that, you really need to start thinking about how you can actually use that, because for wide angle photography, where you're trying to really allow the foreground to dominate your shot, it allows you to get your camera in very, very close to those subject matters, so much closer than you could in a conventional tripod setup. So it's well worth exploring. For me, this shot wouldn't have worked at all if I hadn't have reversed the tripod down. I would have been too far away from the water. I wouldn't have filled that foreground as much, and ultimately the image just wouldn't have worked at all. So that's it for tonight. Don't be afraid to try a little bit of tripod yoga yourself. Don't be put off by empty blue skies. It is still possible to get images. You just have to work a little bit harder for them. And don't rush your photography like an idiot, like me. Yeah, so that's about it. Let me know your thoughts on the image I managed to secure. And let me know your thoughts on the tripod setup I used. Do you have a reversible column in your tripod? Do you ever shoot in that kind of position? I think it's really undervalued, I think, in landscape photography, to be honest. And I'll be the first to admit, I've never really done it all that much up until recently, but I think there's an awful lot of value in doing it, I really do. So yeah, it's something I'll probably explore in future videos. So yeah, thanks very much for watching today, and yeah, I think I might just stay down this beach a little bit longer and enjoy that behind me. Absolutely gorgeous. And I might keep my fingers crossed for a little bit of noctilucent action. I'll see you all soon. Take care.